Hello, my love. Welcome. This is day 2 of our explorations of ourselves. And we're just going to be talking about the absurdity of life, all of ideas circulating in our minds. I'm going to be channeling, tapping into what you might be feeling. Today, I'm going to give you bread. And I want you to take it, ingest it, feel it, metabolize it, and really let this wisdom saturate your body. One of the most dire questions I often get with my clients is, how do we embrace the absurdity of life? And my answer is the art of living well. How do we live our lives unhinged, right? This is going to be a lesson about letting go and holding compassion. Just imagine yourself, we are having coffee with my favorite writers. Dostoevsky might be there, Alain de Botton, Hemingway, Bukowski, many more. You have this faraway look about you again, and you're thinking about a lot of things. Sometimes it's really hard to understand the emotions, the cacophony of things that swirls around us. You're carrying too many thoughts at once, and you have this quiet storm inside of you. You might not show it to other people, but it's there. I see it. It is a mix of exhaustion and wonder, and the way that we can be both grateful and restless at the same time. You're just trying to make sense of it, and I can feel the ache, the longing, the strange beauty of it all. You know, words are very healing. And you can keep asking, why does it all feel so heavy? Maybe it's because we were never built for stillness. We're these strange, fragile beings with infinite imagination, trying to fit eternity into the space of this one single life, one single body. We ache because we think that something is wrong with us. We can imagine more than we have, and we can love more than we can keep. So that gap between what you feel and what you can hold, that tender place where all of the art and madness all comes from. I know that noise in your head. All the what ifs, the should haves, between who you are and who you think you should be. You wonder if you've wasted your time, if you've disappointed people, if you're too much or not enough. But I want you to know that doubt, with all of that chaos, is your aliveness. That is what makes you human. It is your mind trying to make sense of the world that will never quite make sense. We live in a very paradoxical world. And there's a kind of beauty in realizing that everything we love will eventually end. It hurts, but it's what makes our love and time here very real. If things lasted forever, then we would stop noticing them. But because they're fleeting, because we know that we will lose them someday, we learn to look harder. We cling on them. We hold softer to say thank you while it's still here. It is a bittersweet mercy of being human. And sometimes the best things we can do is to sit with it all of the contradictions, the absurdity, the noise, and we stop trying to control things, to fix things. Just let it be. You can laugh at it, maybe you can cry with it, write to it. You can whisper to your own ache, and You can just say, hey, I do notice you. Like, I am in pain. And that's what softens the edges. We acknowledge the emotions that we feel and we befriend it. How can I talk to my sadness? Hey, sadness, what are you trying to teach me? That's how heaviness starts to breathe. We stay tender in a world that numbs itself. To keep caring when it hurts and to keep showing up to the mystery even when you have no idea what it means. Because we don't need to solve life. You just need to let it unfold through you. If I can give you advice, do not seek a life free of suffering, but to live it so truthfully that suffering itself becomes luminous. These feelings we feel, like despair, longing, guilt, and joy, they're all aspects and facets of the same human soul. And there's also beauty in them. It is a doorway to your depth. We sometimes don't want to look at the dark things. We don't want to go down the basement because there's monsters down there or things that we're afraid to look at. The tragedy is not pain. It's actually the shallowness. You're just living surface level when you can truly experience the birth of life. To live without wrestling contradictions inside you is to live half asleep. You're like a zombie walking around. If you want to be really awake, we face what we are afraid of. Desire is not entirely our own, and this is kind of where we often trip up. A lot of our desires, we learn what we want from watching others. It's like, oh, I want that nice car, that nice watch, I want those nice clothes, I want those big house. We think that it will give us happiness. We think that it will give us freedom. Freedom is not comfort. Real freedom comes from when you stand naked before your own conscience and you choose love anyway. It is you having the trembling courage to face all the chaos within you, the storms inside you, without numbing or escaping from it. You become most human when you realize that your darkness is the raw material. This is where you can really become an alchemist, right? You change this rock, carbon-based, into more of crystalline. And crystals, they form from years of agony, from years of pressure. And that's how you can build resilience, you can build character. The deepest form of seduction is not about pulling something materially or someone towards you with surface level allure. It is about pulling them towards meaning, towards truth, knowing everything. Because when you give someone the possibility of making sense of their suffering, you're touching the most primal parts of their humanity that nobody else can give. You know how sometimes we think we want something? And I often see this with people who have very extravagant careers, lifestyles, and goals, but deep down, it doesn't really feel alive in us. And then you wonder and ask yourself, is this all there is? One of my favorite philosophers is Rene Girard, and he calls this the mimesis. And when we learn from watching others, we want to be accepted. This is where our tribal mentality comes from because we want to survive. It starts so subtly. We see somebody that we admire. Oh, they're so successful, they're so pretty, they have all these pretty things. Without realizing it, we start wanting it because they have it and we want to feel what they seem to feel. It's not wrong to feel that way. It's just how humans are wired. But the problem comes when we confuse that borrowed desire as our own. We want to chase the image instead of the essence. So we become doctors, accountants, entrepreneurs, artists. But are we even sure if that is our soul calling us there? Somebody else's desires has rubbed off on us. And that's why we think that it's also cool. Like, I should be like that too. And then we wonder why, when we succeed, it still feels like a cage. The way to tell the difference is to notice the feeling, the tone behind your wanting. So when you are experiencing this mimetic desire, it feels almost like tense, pressured, and comparative. It feels this frequency of fear of falling behind or disappointing others, of not being enough. I should be this. I should want that. Authentic desire feels quieter, but it is steady. It's not about proving anything. It's not about expression. It just gives this energy instead of draining it. So we can kind of ask ourselves, like, if no one ever saw or approved this choice, like, would I still do it? Would I still pursue it? If money was not an object, what would I be doing? If the world didn't reward me for it, would it still be meaningful to me? Your true desire is always have this kind of its own pulse, and it will keep returning even when it's confusing, inconvenient, or uncertain. We often want control, and we want things to go our way. Control is the mind's way of trying to feel safe when our heart has forgotten that safety already exists within us. We grasp and we cling. What we're really saying is, I do not trust that life will hold me if I let go. Us wanting to control becomes a substitute for trust, a way to negotiate with uncertainty. Naturally, we want to be okay, but control always costs something. It keeps the heart tight, the breath shallow, and your imagination small. When we control, we stop listening. We stop letting the mystery of life teach us. There's this thing called the sunk cost fallacy. We stay in jobs and relationships, even though we know that it's done. It's kind of like you in a comedy show, and you and this person or you and this thing goes on a date in this comedy show, and the comedy show is so boring, it's just annoying. Why am I still here? But we stay because we don't want to offend who's there with us. But then we sacrifice our desires. Next thing we know, we're 65 or 70. It's like, where did my life go? Did I actually do anything that I wanted to do? We trade flow for predictability because it's safer. Yet we never truly feel at peace because deep down the soul knows it was not meant to manage life, only to move with it. Instead of holding on to life with clenched fists, we open our hands softly. To open your hands in love, meaning you remember that surrendering is the very act of profound faith. When you can open your hands instead of controlling our lives, even though you might lose what you are holding, but you also become able to receive what was always meant for you. That is the paradox. The more we try to grip life, the more it slips through us. The more we soften, the more it stays. This is one of the most vital lessons that I've learned throughout all of my ego deaths. Oh, I need to be Celine, the financial analyst. I need to be Celine, the content creator. I need to be Celine, the good daughter, the good sister, the good neighbor. That all dissolves. Those are just identities and characters that we play. I simply am. I'm just Celine. I don't need labels. I am a creator. And I choose to move through my life with intention. I design my life to a T. Letting go is one of those things that we have to do. Compassion begins when you really allow yourself to feel the full ache of what is leaving without needing you to fix it or assign any blame. It's you honoring yourself and things around you. When we let go, you're telling yourself that I will no longer bind you or myself to a form that has completed its teaching. It's how we grow. And if we don't open ourselves to growth, well, it is kind of the antithesis of living, right? And we're here to thrive. You're also saying that I bless what is leaving. I bless the space that opens. I open myself up to more miracles, to more magic. Maybe that's why your life is so not fun. And so when we can hold this true compassion and recognize that love does not disappear when all of these identities, material things, forms dissolve, it just simply changes shape. When we can hold this compassion, you don't have to rush the grief or the numb, the longing. You can breathe through it like a tide returning to the ocean. You let yourself be humbled by the impermanence. You can speak gently to the parts of you still cling and remind yourself that you're safe, even without what you thought you needed. Whenever you feel this kind of impulse or control, does your body tighten? Where does it live in your body? How can we externalize that? That is embodiment, right? Noticing the waves of emotions that lands in your body. This could be an old memory. And karma is a very funny thing because it's almost like a bomb detonating in our bodies. It's like, I've already, fixed this. Like, why is this coming back again? I thought we've worked on self-love. Like, why am I resenting myself again? There's several layers of the karma that we have. But that's why we hold compassion and we put our awareness. What happens if you breathe into that place instead of acting from it? I'm speaking as your highest self. Why do we avoid heartache and pain? And how can we see these emotions differently, right? One of the things that I love about reading classics and reading about the Stoics, they weren't trying to give you a 5-step how to get rid of pain. When you notice their writing, there is cadence to it. There's like this soft melody, and they really romanticize melancholy. They romanticize sorrow. They know that this was a part of life. They didn't have therapy. They didn't have performance coaches. Like, stop telling me to perform. I've been performing my whole life. And it was just there. When you read these books, they're just hanging out with you, like consolation. They give you permission to feel. We were taught that pain means something has gone wrong, when in truth, pain often means that something is real, that it needs to be felt. I often talk to my emotions a lot. One time I was eating fried chicken, and after I ate fried chicken, I was just like, I hate myself. Why did I do that to myself? I feel so disgusting. And then I just kind of tap into my body, be like, you know what? You wanted to eat it at that time. Just notice this resentment you feel. It's a very strong emotion. And then that brought me back to when I was younger, when my parents controlled everything that I ate. And it was this underlying fear of, if I don't please the people who I look up to for my survival, and if I don't eat what they give me, if they disapprove of what I was eating or how I was acting, if I was not being good, then I would get punished. You want to please everybody and your parents, and you don't want to disappoint them, your family. You just kind of remember yourself going into your bedroom that night. It's like, what did I do? Like, I should be better. I don't want to hurt people I love. So you're just kind of crying in the corner, your little tear dripping down your face, and you feel alone. I know it's a very early memory. Do people actually understand me? So we reach out, we overextend ourselves, we perform, we wear masks. We've been conditioned to label all of these feelings either good or bad: joy, love, excitement, good, grief, anger, loss. But emotions isn't moral, it is informational. Pain is your system saying that something is meaningful here. I care deeply. This happened here, so I need to pay attention here. So when you can stop judging that feeling and instead get curious, like, what message does this pull out of me? It stops being the enemy and it starts to become your guide. Heartbreak. When we feel this longing, yearning, ache in our hearts, it wants to expand its capacity. You will notice and feel how deeper you can receive and give love. And every heartache is an initiation to greater depths. It's trying to teach you more empathy, more humility and compassion, and that gracefulness the intellect can't reach. You're allowing yourself to ache fully, like really ball out and crash out. The full spectrum of life. Like, you can have the highest highs, ecstasy, orgasmic ecstasies, and you can also experience grief to its deepest depths. You're not afraid of it. I welcome it fully. I am such a human. Without rushing or fixing to escape it, you start to notice that pain moves. It breathes, it evolves, it carries you somewhere softer. And then you're like, I love this soft landing. I'm like in the clouds. My God. Sometimes the frequencies that I feel, the immense love and comfort, especially when spirit saturates me, I could cry. I could fucking cry. Because it is that immense of love that there is no fear in my body. I am so loved and supported. You can start to see this heartache almost like an alchemy, and it burns away all the falseness, all the borrowed dreams, the illusions of control, And you're just left with this raw, true, and sacred. That's like the Philosopher's Stone, right? Instead of asking, how can I avoid pain? You can really ask yourself, what is pain trying to teach me right now? The things that I value. Because once you understand that, the pain starts to serve you and it will point you towards something more real, more possibilities. It will branch out to many more beautiful things that can come into your life. Why do we worry so much? Well, worrying gives the mind a job. When our heart feels helpless, you start to worry. That's what the mind does. When it cannot hold and bear the uncertainty of life, it tries to solve what it cannot control. So when you're creating a sense of safety through thinking, so on some level, it's an act of care. We worry because we love. We worry because we love. We worry because we want things to turn out well. But over time, that worrying becomes a way of avoiding the present moment. We trade our aliveness for control. Most of the time, worrying is not even about what is happening right now. It's about what might happen. And you're already opening all of these realities in your head. You're projecting yourself out of time. You're way past forward and your body is like a mile away. It is your imagination turned against itself. So your mind spins all the scenarios to protect us, but your body doesn't know the difference between thought and reality. And we end up living through the pain that has not even occurred yet. When you notice yourself worrying, really try to pause and feel what is underneath it, what is actually happening. Usually there's this tender emotion that worry is trying to cover. It could be fear, grief, powerlessness, sometimes love. In the moment we put our compassion to that emotion instead of resisting it, the grip of worry begins to loosen. I like to think of compassion and love as these neutralizing agents. Forgiveness too. Forgiveness with ourselves. And this is kind of the secret sauce of what makes you young. A lot of times, your internal self will age before it shows signs in your skin or all of these other things. Because their spirit body is already decaying. And I often see these biohackers taking all these supplements and they make it seem like they look physically healthy, but then all of a sudden, oh, I have a chronic illness. They're getting infections. They have fertility issues. Yeah, because we have an energy body, not just physical body. We have a mental body. All of those systems have to be tuned together. You know, you can biohack and give your body so much supplements, but if you're not checking your spirit, all those signs of aging will still show up and it will cause more havoc in your life. You cannot think your way into peace. You can only relax into it. And all the worries, this dissolves when you remember that you don't have to hold the whole world in your hands. You just have to meet what's here, one breath at a time, having patience, slowing down. Slowing down doesn't mean pausing or being stagnant. It's being more precise. You can be slow and fast at the same time because you're removing things that are just adding clutter in your life. There is this sense of longing, grief, melancholy when You know you have to let go of something very important to you and feel bad that you hurt people you love, but you also have to honor yourself or your desires because it actually hurts them more. In the same time, you also feel excited of what's to come. That is the feeling, the ache of the threshold. It is that strange place where grief and excitement live in the same atmosphere. You're standing between worlds where you've outgrown something and what hasn't yet fully arrived. The paradox of transformation, and you must release something deeply woven into your life, something that holds love, history, but your soul is ready to lean forward, already whispering that it's time for a change. This is why the longing both feels heavy and electric. You are mourning something, and you're also birthing. It's all happening all at once. When we silence our deeper calling out of guilt or fear or hurting others, we actually create a more subtle kind of pain. One that will seep into our work, our relationships. We get frustrated, we get angry. And people can feel when we're not fully alive, when we are dimming ourselves to stay safe. There is that compression, and then it becomes a form of distance. But when we choose authenticity, being truthful to ourselves, even if it brings temporary heartbreak, this invites everyone around us into truth. It allows love to evolve rather than stagnate. And there's no way to move through this cleanly. It is messy. But letting go with love will always ache. That's why we calm our nervous system. I had this client, and we've been working for about a year. She was in an abusive relationship. They had 2 kids. But through us working and calming her nervous system, by the end of it, she was like, this was the smoothest divorce I've ever had. All I needed to do was move into a new place. And we're fine. We're still friends. We're still sharing our children. And that is the biggest compliment anyone can give to my work. It's saved her thousands of dollars. But it was almost as if she just accepted the circumstance, and she was not reacting out of fight or flight, trying to grip and make things happen. She just let it go. And we can honor that grief as proof that what you're leaving truly mattered. It was a part of your history. And you can tell the people you love that your choice was not against them. It is for their growth, the integrity of your soul, which ultimately serves them too, because you also want them to be happy. And it is that quiet excitement you feel in this possibility that life is affirming itself through you. Your next chapter is already beginning. You don't try to get rid of the melancholy. It just sits beside excitement. You let them both exist, light and shadow, sharing the same horizon. I've had several clients who would come to me and they're like, should I leave my job? Should I sell my house? Should I leave all of my projects and start this grand project that is so out of my brand? It's like, do it. I fully support you unconditionally. I'm just watching you thrive. I believe in you. You have so much creativity inside of you. And that little inner child of them comes out, and they're all giddy. They're excited what they're creating, even though They have a little bit of that fears, like, what if this doesn't work out? It's like, what if it works out? Come back to me. And that's how my clients are able to make 10K, 20K the next day. Sometimes people just need somebody to believe in them. It's like, hey, I see this in you. I need you to follow this. This is your permission. So it is that strange in-between light where it never fully becomes dark and quiet turns into day. It's the atmosphere of the soul when it knows something is ending, but it hasn't yet crossed into a new beginning. It's exciting but scary at the same time. And everything glows with that pale, sleepless clarity. You can feel beauty and sadness layered over each other, the way dusk holds both longing and relief. That time is really tender, and you know that you can't go back, but you don't know yet how to move forward. You're in that threshold, quantum leap, or you're breaking through. The heart stays awake even when the body is exhausted. It remembers what being left behind while reaching for what's about to arrive. It's nostalgia, hope, guilt, freedom, all tangled in the same breath. And that's okay. It's so beautiful to experience all of it. It's like, this is scary to me, but I'm going to do it anyway. And if you can, treat this time sacred. Be gentle with yourself. Rather than something to get through, these are the days and nights that temper you, that stretch your capacity for feeling without collapsing into it. You can journal about it. You can speak it out loud, slowly, sit in silence. Just letting yourself remember and imagine in equal measure. You soften into the dawn. You'll realize that the grief you've been feeling all along was love refining itself. And you'll carry what mattered forward in a lighter form. People often ask me why I'm so wise. Well, I've died 1,000,000 times, and what is left is wisdom. Just I am. I have become my highest self. Suffering is the price of consciousness, but love, it is the reward. Don't try to escape the night or this in between. Go through it, and you will find that God was there all along, waiting not in your perfection, but in your tears, your trembling, and your refusal to turn away from life. And I'm really proud of you. I'm proud of you for finishing this podcast. I'm proud of you for receiving this wisdom. I'm proud of you for showing up for yourself, for showing up for others, for being a creator. I love you so much. I can't wait to see what you're going to create. And I hope that I hear about your success, because nothing makes me feel more alive. I'm sending you so much love, so much grace. Listen to this when your heart feels tight, when your body doesn't know what it needs to do, when your mind is circling in thoughts, you're spiraling. Oh, Celine, I'm spiraling. Come back to this. Let my voice hold you. You're okay. You're safe. You got this. And again, we remember our mantra, I am fearless, therefore I am powerful.